I have a guest star again. Rosie just likes being part of the videos, guys. Hi Crystal Balls, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. If this is your first time here, welcome. Please think about sticking around, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Please do that for me and everybody else who is struggling right now, especially your mom and pop places and your friends that are hustling, especially this time of year. And guys, if you could just take a moment and hit subscribe for me, that would be great. I have a lot of viewers and less than half of you are subscribed to this channel. So if you could please do that for me, that would be amazing. I also want to tell everybody thank you so much for being on this journey with me. I really, really, really appreciate you guys, especially my Patreons. So today we are going to be talking a bit about my reaction to the whole Dr. Phil and the Wells case. I have restarted this video about 5 or 6 times because I'm having a difficulty expressing myself and what has happened and the absurd things that have happened since the interview of Dr. Phil, which took place last week. This was a 2-part story that they had on the Dr. Phil's show last week, and it included Summer Wells' parents, Don and Candace Wells, as well as the guys from the interview room and Dr. Phil interviewing them by himself, them being Don and Candace. I have gone back and forth about my emotions with this particular interview, and this is why I'm having such a hard time and maybe even sounding a bit robotic, and I don't mean to. I wish this interview never happened. While from a standpoint of a person who is interested in forensic psychology, I found it fascinating, and I did see some of the techniques being used that I was highly impressed with. However, this was a circus. You cannot take shows like Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, anything like that seriously. Even though these people are trained in this area, does not mean that they aren't in this particular, medium for ratings. Everything is about ratings, and I have a huge problem with Dr. Phil as a person, and I don't watch his shows. So I just want to make that abundantly clear. I am going to be doing something about Dr. Phil later and covering what he did to Bad Baby. And, the Catch Me Outside girl, they pushed that child just like they pushed everybody else who is on that show. They want the drama. They want the drama for the ratings. And honestly, before they even started the camera, there was already enough drama with Don and Candace to fill several Olympic-sized swimming pools. While I see 2 people who are being interrogated by the public, I also see 2 people who are doing next to nothing to find their child. They are spending their time accusing people of not helping them when people are literally begging to help them, and they want to find Summer. They keep saying that nobody wants to help them, that nobody wants to find Summer, that this is all distracting from finding Summer. And while I agree on some extent, yes, this is distracting from finding Summer, what I am most disturbed about is you as parents, Candace and Don, are the ones that are distracting people from Summer. You are doing this by your constant outbursts, your drunken calls, your pranks, your pretending that your husband is going to jail, your outlandish life, and everything that you have been doing in public yourselves without any sort of pushing from anybody. You are the ones that call in to several different YouTubers and live streams and have done interviews, and you're not talking about your child. You are the ones that are distracting the most. If you cared about your child, Summer, who is missing, you would not be going on to random live streams and YouTubers all hours of the night, being inebriated, being drunk, sorry, high, or whatever the hell else that you're doing, while both of you are clearly putting on an act. You also are incredibly verbally and physically abusive to one another, and you have shown that over and over again. Candace, you've had more than your 3 boys taken away from you. Every child of yours has been removed by CPS, and that is not an easy thing to do. Having a child removed is something that social workers try incredibly hard to do, and especially when it comes to certain welfares and dangers. I believe that your 3 sons were in danger, and not just because Summer went missing. And unfortunately, not just because there were people who were giving you guys threats. Your children were in danger, unfortunately, but your children were also in danger for your very basic day-to-day things. Seeing the home, seeing the amount of neglect that was happening there. Your children were removed for more than one reason that had nothing to do with your child Summer Wells' disappearance. And I'm repeating Summer as much as I can because she is the focus, and you as parents have lost the focus of your child. The reason that I believe this is, and I've shared this in other videos, and these are my opinions, and if you don't like them, click off, it's okay. You know what happened to her. You know exactly what happened to her. She is not alive. We all know that. The statistically outrageous number for your child to be alive is improbable. Completely improbable. The few people that you have heard that have turned up years later in abduction or kidnapping cases are the exception. They are not the norm. And as heartbreaking as that is, it is the reality of the situation. Summer Wells is not coming home alive. I am also astounded that there were 2 missing children in this family. Candace's sister and her daughter. The likelihood of that happening is astronomical. I'm not saying that one has to do with the other, but I'm saying that one could have influenced the other. You are more likely to get hit by lightning 3 times or more than to have 2 family members who are gone, vanished, disappeared. And I try to look at this from a perspective of parents who have lost their child. And I don't know that. I'm not that person. I can say that some of this odd and strange behavior can be a result of grief. Because this is a grieving process. Even if for some reason Summer ever comes home, which she won't. The fact that she's gone and missing, there is a grieving process. I cannot imagine being the parent or the loved one of somebody who is missing, it will change your entire world. It's got to be hard enough knowing that your child has died for various amounts of reasons. But to have a missing child and not know anything about what happened to them has got to be a special type of hell. And my heart breaks for anybody that is going through that. And this is why I work so hard at what I do. And Don and Candace, this is why all of these other people are working so hard at what they do to keep Summer's name out there. Bring attention to other children that are missing. So we keep giving this a voice. Not for monetary reasons, but for hope. We hope that there is something that can be learned out of this situation so nobody else has to go through it. Hope. None of us think that Summer is coming home. And that is very unfortunate. But there is hope that we will learn something from this situation. And I think the truth lies within the two of you and everybody else that was around Summer that day. I believe the Dr. Phil show was a complete detriment to this entire case. And I believe that the fact that Dr. Phil exonerated them in his own words, in his own opinion, to Don and Candace, saying that he does not believe that they have anything to do with their daughter's disappearance or anything like that, was probably the worst thing that he could have done. He opened a visceral can of worms that now Candace and Don are flaying everywhere. Now, maybe there's a possibility, there is a possibility that he did this on purpose to see what the fallout would be. However, the show is for entertainment. The Dr. Phil show is for entertainment. First and foremost, above all everything else, it is an entertainment show. It is for ratings. And while I saw some things in there that I thought were brilliant, I also saw some things in there that I thought were disgusting. And Dr. Phil never should have uttered those words. I think partial reasons he did it was to keep Candace and Don talking. Now, when the interview room interviewed Don and Candace, I applaud what little they showed. However, we've seen a lot of this already. There is no new information. The only thing new that was brought up that Don and Candace even bothered to answer, because yes, they really skate around questions, and instead of answering them directly, they go back and say things like, what does this have to do with our missing child? Everything. Even basic questions like what your daughter's birthday is. What was she like? Things like that you should be able to answer. You don't. And then you start this long narrative of scapegoating and long narrative of trying to get away from your daughter Summer by your choice, by your words, by your actions. The Cornbread Mafia should have never been brought up. And Candace's reaction. Now, people are obviously tearing Candace's reaction apart. And apparently there's a rumor that somebody said that Candace got a phone call right before this happened, that somebody believed that Summer was spotted. They actually contacted the TBI and et cetera, and found out that it wasn't Summer, and this was her reaction. I don't believe that is true, because if this would have happened while the interview room was around, like it showed, then I believe this would have been part of the show. If not then part of Dr. Phil's segment with them. I don't believe that that rumor is true, and I haven't seen anything to back that up. Now, the TBI has no reason to give anybody things in the public that are true. They are under no obligation to give the public information outside of asking people to stop giving them shit tips. And I agree, stop giving them shit tips. You know, the local police officers in that area have no obligation to tell us anything. Except we know at this particular moment, right now in November, when I'm filming this, Don and Candace are still suspects. They have not been able to weed them out. And that says a lot. That says a whole lot. And as parents, I can't understand the difficulty of being accused of making your child disappear. But as someone who loves children and would do anything to help, I would tell them, police, investigators, FBI, whatever, get into my life. I'll answer every question you have. I'll give you my phone. I'll give you my laptop. I'll give you all my passwords to everything I have. I have nothing to hide. And as soon as we get me off the list, then let's go find who did this. But let's do this. Like, you can have all my fingerprints. You can have, like, my tongue. I don't care. I'm trying to find my child. I would do anything I could to make sure that I was cooperating to the fullest extent as possible. And they aren't doing that. I think the whole Candace crying during the cornbread mafia thing, I hate to say this, but was an act. Even though the people at the interview room do believe that this was real, and they saw the snot and the grossness and the reaction that she was having in real time, I have a problem believing it because of other things that Candace has done. She's cried wolf too many times. I don't believe you, Candace, and I definitely don't believe Dawn. Unreliable narratives, unreliable narrators. This is what we have. This is what we have to deal with in order to find your child. Are two people, parents, who are completely unreliable and have proven themselves to be unreliable over and over and over again. And this is taking away anything to do with their criminal past, their children that they have in their past, any incidents that they have done that is being examined right now for very illegal reasons. I'm talking about just what they have done themselves since Summer has gone missing. And that includes some very vile and disgusting pranks and some pretty interesting performances that they put on, sometimes nightly, and whoever will have them on their live streams on YouTube. One of the most interesting things that I found with Dr. Phil when he was speaking to Candace and Dawn on his stage was a very particular trick that is done in a forensic interrogation process. He was asking questions about Summer in the present tense. Present tense. And they were simple questions. something to the effect of, I'm sorry, I don't remember, but something to the effect of, Summer, she really likes to play outside, doesn't she? You know, Summer, she really seems like she gives her big brothers a run for their money. Things like that. Dr. Phil started the narrative with the present tense of Summer. And the second that they referred to her in the past tense, after about two very general questions or very general talking points, they started referring to her in the past tense, and Dr. Phil mimicked it after that. That is an interrogation technique that is very small, but very powerful. And while people don't want to put too much clout between past tense and present tense, you need to, especially now. At this point, you need to, because it tells you what the parents are thinking. Both of them refer to her in past tense. And both of them have been doing this for a very long time. But the fact that Dr. Phil mimicked it, and they never corrected him once, was astounding to me. That was an amazing trick that I was very impressed with, that I have seen in other cases, and I have seen forensic interrogations before. And that is one of the most fascinating things. And changing something as small as a tense is very telling. Now, I don't think Dr. Phil really believed that he was going to get Don and Candace to crack about their daughter, Summer Wells, on this show. But he caused a lot of damage. This is for entertainment, guys. And I feel that this has actually been a setback, especially seeing how Don and Candace are acting now. They are calling into places and doing terrible things and going on completely racist rants to people. When most of us find out that Don Wells didn't even know when his daughter's, Summer Wells' birthday is, our gut reaction is to feel like he is neglectful in some way. I don't know exactly where to go with this topic, because I can see where dates don't necessarily mean a whole lot to someone. However, your child is missing. You should know everything about her in order to answer questions, especially to get out to the public. What if that was something that was a key part of someone who abducted her to get her back, was knowing something as general and basic as her birth date? While a birth date may not be that important to Don Wells, the man who said that his entire life changed the moment this little girl was born, it could be something very huge and very telling about the kind of person he is. After the kidnapping, as he calls it, or the abduction, depending on what mood he's in, he should have known his daughter's height, her weight, and her birthday, as well as what she was wearing on the day that she went missing. Very general things that parents should know. He doesn't know his children's birthdays. I don't know if that shows him to be neglectful and just all around bad father, or he just doesn't care and thinks it's something that women like, that are important to women, as he pointed out on a broadcast that was just out. He believes that it's women folk who hold these things in high esteem. You, as her father of a missing child, should also hold that date in high esteem. How can you recall events in your own timeline if you don't know one of the most important days of your life, when your baby was born? What day was it? It's unthinkable, especially with things like phones, smartphones that have calendars in it for you, where you can jot down a birthday. Social media, things like that. There are people in social media who do not know your child that know your kids' birthdays more than you do. And that's a problem. While I don't think anything that came to fruition from the Dr. Phil show was helpful, I think it introduced the Don Wells and the Don Wells and the Candace show to a lot more people. I can even make some comparisons to the McCanns. The fact is, we have two sets of parents, two sets of very odd situations, and two missing children, with parents whose stories are very odd. And at the very least, both sets of parents are guilty of neglect. The McCanns still have no trace of their child almost 20 years later. The Wells have no trace of their daughter, Summer, after about 4 or 5 months. And it doesn't look like anything is going to change. So I want everybody to take the Dr. Phil show as what it is: entertainment. We learned nothing. There was nothing of merit there. There was chaos. And the things, just like the McCanns, that were on these types of interviews that happened with Candus and Don, were highly edited. We only got to see a small portion, and even that was edited to fit a narrative. There's no truth here. What we have is a circus. What we have is a missing little girl named Summer Wells, whose parents can't seem to keep their crap together, whose parents are begging for help for everybody, but turning everybody down. We have a situation that is volatile between two consenting adults right now. But those two consenting adults have a missing child. And that is not their focus. This isn't a game. This isn't funny. This isn't a prank. I think the worst thing they could have done was go on the Dr. Phil show. Because now it's just a bigger circus than it was before. And now Candace and Don are clucking around like proud peacocks, as if nothing can stop them and nothing can touch them. Because a man on a television show said he believed them. What's your opinion? Did you guys watch the 2 parts of the Dr. Phil show? Did you feel just as disappointed as I did and completely nonchalant about the situation? I felt that there was so much missing. especially about Summer. Summer Wells will not come home. And the only people who know the truth are the people who were there that day. I don't know if we'll ever get an actual version of the truth to come out before it's too late. If they continue on this road, they're going to make other people angry. And nobody wants that. They're in enough trouble as it is. And they are the stars of their own personal hell. While I do feel for parents of missing children, these parents don't even seem like they understand that their child is missing. They also don't understand what a gag order means. And they also don't understand why they can't talk to their boys about Summer. There's a reason for all of this. And it all points back to you, Don and Candace. All right, guys, be kind in the comments. This is a real missing child, and there are missing and exploited children everywhere that do not get this type of attention. Please go and look at the Missing and Exploited Children website and take a look at your state and your city. Take a look at the names and the faces of those children. Most of those kids are gone because of family members. Very few of them have been taken or gone missing because of something outside of their own family. Those kids deserve justice just as much as Summer, just as much as Madeline. Make sure you see their faces. All right, everybody. Have a good day or night, wherever you are in this world. Remember that every single day is a gift. Use your time wisely. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.